G'day Australia, Corin from Universal Fuse and Audiocom here. If you're installing one of our 6x9 split upgrade speaker packs into the Toyota Land Cruiser 200 series, there's a couple of other Toyotas we did this for as well, Camry and some others, then you will come across a little situation where when you unplug the tweeter, the factory tweeter, from the top of the dash here, the mid bass driver will stop working, and I'll show you why that is. Because on the back of the factory tweeter there's a little bridging situation, can you see it there, where out of the factory plug it's like a pass-through for the wiring at the tweeter connector. So the speaker power comes from the head unit, goes to the tweeter, passes through the tweeter plug down to the mid bass driver. So if you're going to upgrade and take these out and upgrade with one of our DIY packs, which you can find in our other videos, or this might be in the video of the full DIY install kit, then you'll need to keep this little bypass in there, and I'll show you the finished result in a moment after I do it on this one. But basically what you're going to do is unfasten the plug and the connector off the original factory tweeter, then you're going to solder it in to the new Alpine tweeter and crossover. The crossover needs to be used in the loop. That's the crossover. Almost dropped the phone. That's the crossover there in the palm of my hand. That little inline crossover needs to be used as a part of the loop so that the tweeter is protected and isn't getting the low frequencies that are meant to go to the woofer. It cuts them off and protects the tweeter. Do not throw that crossover out. Make sure it goes in. It's a very important part of the system. So in a moment I'll get that done up and I'll show you the completed version that we're going to fit back into the car. Alright guys, here it is. So we've now connected this new tweeter where that wiring runs through into the inline crossover, which is in the palm of my hand there, and then we've soldered that directly to the factory tweeter plug, and you can see there how it's got the 4 pins that loop through the signal, so the speaker power comes into the factory plug, factory tweeter plug, back out again to the mid bass driver. So you have to retain that plug in this particular vehicle to keep the mid bass driver working. Now, so for some of our other Toyota packs, we have a little plug and play bypass adapter, which is included in the pack as you buy it, and we pack it up from the warehouse. But for this particular 200 series, there isn't a prefabricated adapter available. So you just have to make this small little connection. You can see we've insulated it there with a heat shrink, which is the #1 way to insulate a connection after you have soldered it. That's the best way to get it done. Try and avoid using crimp connectors if you can, and try and avoid insulating with tape. No one does that anymore since the 90s. Use heat shrink. It's cheap and readily available. You can get it from all sorts of places like your local car stereo shop or JK Electronics. There's heaps of little places that you can buy heat shrink from, even Bunnings. It's everywhere. Use it. It's good stuff. So now we'll be able to plug this in, and that will not only give us the new high quality tweeter sound, but also reactivate the mid bass driver, which is currently not working. You have to get a little bit crafty with the mounts on this sometimes, because the factory tweeter hole is bigger and the included brackets don't always work with the speaker packs. We try and include the best little DIY bracket we can, but sometimes you just have to fabricate something a little bit yourself, which is half the fun.